Okay, I am a little bit scared, but I'm just going to do it anyway. I am the kind of person who, back in the day when Facebook first came out and got really popular, I was afraid to post anything about me personally and my opinions because I had so many friends and family, people that I knew that I was, friends with on Facebook, and they were such a varied group of people that I could not say anything that wouldn't have offended somebody. Um, and on one hand, it speaks to the you know the the range of people that I wanted to be friends with. Um, and on the other hand, it's really sad because I just felt like I couldn't actually be myself. Um, and that was really like difficult to feel like I couldn't be me in public with, and like with friends, with family. I was worried, oh, my aunt might disapprove if I post this, or my friends might disapprove if I post this. And now I'm 42, and we don't post on Facebook anymore anyway. But I really, I just think it's a shame now that I was not. First of all, it it really shows me how much of a people pleaser I am, that I'm not, I was not willing to say anything controversial. Now, in person, I would do that one on one, but there was some problem with like the group of people. Um, so I think, I want to be, I feel like I have all of this life experience. I've done things that many other people haven't. I've lived overseas for many years. I worked in the Democratic Republic of Congo for 5 years, and I had some like wild life experiences that taught me a lot of things. And I want to give that experience to others who have lived their lives in other ways and don't have the information and experience. I think it's like I gave over a decade of my life to international development work, and I have a lot to say about it. And people who gave their lives to other causes, other passions, um, don't know. So I'd love to share from the life experience that I chose. But I'm afraid. So I wanted to record this video and just sort of get out everything that I'm afraid of, all of the parts of me that I wouldn't have wanted to put on Facebook then. And I don't know, maybe I would do it now. So that I'm like okay with being fully seen, to the degree that I'm going to put myself out there. So I'm going to start with saying some controversial things. It's really hard as a people pleaser I remember as a kid, my parents' disappointment, I didn't need to be spanked or punished, put in the corner. My parents looked at me wrong and I knew they were disappointed. That was the worst punishment. And, I'm so mad that I'm a people pleaser because I can feel how much power I have inside of me, and the life choices that I've made reveal the power that I do have. You can't work in Congo for 5 years and be a sissy, right? So I have that power inside of me, but when it comes to disappointing people, it's really hard for me. And I think being seen, especially in a public online sort of space that's a little bit more anonymized, people are going to say mean things, terrible things about me. And I guess what I've heard from others is that once people are saying bad things about you, that's a good sign that you're saying something worth saying. And I have done it in the past. I worked in public health, and when everything happened with COVID, I was very on board, like, let's, save all the lives. But I just started asking very simple questions like, okay, if there's a new drug for cancer patients, you don't give it to everybody who has cancer. You start with the people who are going to die anyway and are willing to do it. And then you see what happens with the drug. And if it works, then you can try with, the next serious level of cancer patients and see if it works there. And when the COVID vaccine came out, I just was asking questions, really like smart medical questions, in my opinion. And I got a lot of flack from my coworkers. I got a lot of flack. And it made me feel terrible. It made me feel like I was being a terrible person for just asking basic questions like, wouldn't you does everybody need to take the COVID vaccine? Because we haven't tested the vaccine. You have systems and measures in place for safety, and we're not following any of those rules. And I understand there's a global pandemic, there's reasons, but not everybody is at equal risk of getting COVID. If you're staying inside, or if you're a little kid, I have some reservations. And boy, did no one want to hear my reservations. And that just sort of fueled me to go further down the rabbit hole. And when there was a policy that came from headquarters, came from Washington, D.C., that said, if you don't want to get vaccinated, you need to get tested every week. In DC, you can get testing done for free. In Congo, the testing was $30. So for people working at the company, the lowest paid staff, I did the math, and $30 a week was like 50% of their salary. And I flagged it to leadership, and I said, this is unethical that we're being asked to follow this mandate from Washington, D.C., and the real repercussions for the lowest paid staff are too high. They don't have a real choice. I didn't get much traction, so I raised it to like the ethics team at HQ, which I had worked very closely with, because in Congo there's a lot of fraud and risk of fraud. So, I had his phone number in my back pocket, and he didn't do anything either. I did not lose my job. I thought I might, People thought I was really crazy. That was very difficult for me because I am a people pleaser, and it took a lot to stand up, but I really thought it was the right thing to do. So there are times that I have stood up when I felt like it was an right or wrong sort of moral issue. But I paid for that. I paid for it so much. Thank goodness I didn't get fired. I don't know, maybe who knows what would have happened. But I paid for it emotionally, being cast out. And I was not my boss and my boss's boss. We continued to talk, but they thought I was crazy. And I provided a lot of justification for my questions and my opinions, but it was just too politicized of an issue and no one could hear me. So it feels kind of like doing that all over again. I have this call on my heart for women who are in corporate jobs and feel very suppressed. What's the word? You just feel like you can't say what you want to say. You have to follow the company line. I know what it feels like, and I would love to create a space for women where we can speak openly and be heard by others without being shut off for honest expressions of our authentic selves. So if I'm wanting to do that, I just feel a great deal of hesitation, because what if someone finds out something about me that's unpleasant to them, and they reject me? It just feels very hard, and I don't want to rock the boat. But anything worth doing is going to rock the boat, and I just need to be okay with that. I was watching Moana with my kids the other day, and there's all these times in that movie where she just says no to all these people who want her to keep her safe or don't want to do what she wants them to do, don't want to listen. And she's just like, no, this is what we're doing. And it really stood out to me. She was not compliant. She was not kind. She wasn't cruel, but she just had this overarching vision and mission and this fire in her belly. And if people told her no, she just did it anyway. So I think that's what I need to be willing to do if I'm going to have a group that helps women be more authentic. I'm going to have to start with my own self. And I feel shame. I feel real discomfort. All right, so here we're just going to do it. Things that are unpopular about me that I feel shamed about. So I worked in a sector, public health in Washington, D.C., that was very liberal. And I kind of went along with those ideas because you want to, help people and make sure that everyone has health services that they need. And hi, Poppy.
She thinks she knows everybody.
Hi, sweetie. Oh, you're so cute.
Hey, honey.
Hi, girl. So I then when, like in DC, if you are liberal, it means you're like a good person and you are, you're just not a bad guy. And everybody wants to be a good guy, right? So that's like what I did. And then I went to Congo for 5 years and entirely changed my opinion. Congo like beat the liberal out of me. It was really brutal. It was not fun. I did not enjoy it. I'm like not happy. Being a liberal feels so good. You just feel good being good. And then, I don't know, you see how those ideas play out in the low trust society. And boy, is it. I mean, it's awful. I was taken advantage of. I don't really want to get into it. So we'll just say I arrived in Congo a liberal and I left not a liberal anymore. And I just feel like in the US, it's like such an unpopular opinion. Certainly in my work, people say all sorts of things, and I just neither disagree nor agree. I just like don't engage. I'm not saying that I particularly like Trump. I'm not making a political statement. But I am, I don't know, I like lived and breathed how big government has some real inefficiencies and some real problems. At the end, that's it. And I just did not feel like I could express a complex, nuanced opinion, in those off the cuff kind of jokey, sarcastic comments that were made by my boss, So I just didn't. I feel like a lot of people who have different opinions or more nuanced opinions have had that similar kind of experience. So, I don't know. That's one. Political. I studied political philosophy. In some ways, so it's just better to not say anything at all when you've, I don't know, read the canon of Western political philosophy, and people just say things they've been told to say by big media. Okay, so there's that. What else? What else do I feel shame about? Currently, I feel a lot of shame about eating. I'm in perimenopause. I've made a lot of changes to my life that have made my health and quality of life a lot better. I've improved my sleep significantly. I like to eat healthy foods, but this is a very busy season right now, unexpectedly with work, and I have just been stress eating. Feel a lot of shame about that. I have like a very overweight dad, and that kind of disgusts me. And I feel shame about feeling disgusted about my dad, who's a great person. And my mom died of cancer at 52, which is 10 years away from the age I am. And she did not take care of herself. She took care of everybody else and didn't take care of her own needs. And that's why I think she died. She felt sick and didn't go to the doctor. She had cancer before. So I have a very strong why. I do not want, my kids are younger. And if I died at 52, they would not even be 20. So I'm not dying, taking care of myself. But currently I'm doing a lot of stress eating, pizza, ice cream, chocolates, morning, or even more, just more food than I need. Feel a lot of shame about that. And I'm not losing weight. I'm doing a lot on the exercise side because I like it. It feels good. It helps relieve my stress. But can't get it together on the food front. And I feel that if I lose this perimenopausal midsection weight gain, then I'll be able to be confident. I'm already a certain level of confident, but it's frustrating, putting on clothes and trying to figure out an outfit that is meets my standards for looking put together with the right proportions when you've got these extra inches around the middle, and clothes don't look the way they did before. And this midsection, certainly some of it is the sleep issue that I had previously, but a good chunk of it is stress from when the international development world sort of collapsed in early 2025. I had just gotten a new job. I had worked there for 1 month, and in month 2 they moved me to part-time, which is great because they probably should have fired me, but they moved me to part-time. And then I was part-time for 6 months, and then they were going to let me go. And fortunately, another project opened up, and I got a job there that was a much better fit for me. But just the stress of that, with Doge pausing all projects and then terminating quite a few of them, I just would eat Nutella from the jar every day. And that Nutella is hanging out under my belly button right now. I just think I would feel different if I looked different. I did recently buy some new clothes that have helped with the identity of an athlete, because I have been athletic for none of my childhood and all of my adult life. I don't know why, but so I think having the identity of an athlete is helpful, and wearing clothes that an athlete wears in the colors that I like, helps me with the identity work. But I'm really fighting against myself. I do all of the physical work, and then I undo all of it with the food. I have a lot of shame around money. When I quit my job when I was in Congo because I was just being a terrible mom, working ridiculously crazy hours, coming home and yelling at my kids. And so I quit, and I thought I would get a job right away, or like, as soon as I wanted one, because I have a lot of useful skills. And I did not. I was really kind of soul crushed from the experience of Congo. It really broke my spirit. And it took a while to feel confident again. So I was unemployed or underemployed from September of 2022 until January of 2025. And that's when I got that job that immediately went to part-time. So it was devastating. I mean, just the the silver lining, the good part about all of that was I did have more time to be present with my kids, and I was with my youngest, particularly before kindergarten started. I really was able to be there a lot more for them. But financially, it was a disaster. So by the time I got that job, I had a significant amount of debt just to cover our living expenses. And I feel ashamed about that because I have a good job and I should be able to handle it. I don't have any other support. It's just me making the money for the family. But I feel like I should be able to do that. I've been given all of these advantages, being born in America, of growing up overseas, so knowing what a difference it is to be in a high trust society like the U.S. I'm got scholarships for education, so I have no excuse to not be able to manage my life. There's no excuse, and I, financially, things have been super tight. I worked at a restaurant that actually helped me regain my confidence in myself, slowly but surely, just having to be around people. After everything that happened in Congo, I just felt like nobody could understand, and I felt like I just felt kind of worthless. Just going through really traumatic things there and not feeling like anybody could really get the level of just what it's like there. Yeah. So I now am getting on my feet financially, and that feels really good. I do feel like I've returned that level of just baseline confidence and being myself is back. I don't have that same amount of shame that I did coming back from Congo. So I'm getting there. But I think this is a important step in being able to be okay with being seen. All right, that was a lot.
But there we go.
All the stuff I feel ashamed about, all the unpopular opinions I have. There's more, but those are the ones I feel the most shame about. So there you go. All right, bye.